Hi, I'm Matt.
I'm Jess.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Jason.
And we can't believe you haven't seen The Apartment.
Wow, we did that well.
That's what we need to practice. I'm so impressed.
Welcome back to episode 15 of I Can't Believe You Haven't
Wild.
Seen. Wild. And as you can hear, we have not one, but two special guests for this episode. We have our friends Kim and Jason. Thank you guys for coming and watching the
Thanks
movie
for having us, yeah.
along with us. Multiple times, more than we watched it to get prepared, it sounds like.
Just twice?
Yeah.
I mean, that's more. We watched it earlier today to refresh ourselves, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been a minute.
that's fair. I have seen
also-
this movie many times, and you've seen it a few times at least.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also a holiday movie. So, or
It
at
is.
least it's a movie that occurs during the
During the
holidays.
Yeah.
It's a holiday movie the way Die Hard is a holiday movie, and that's good enough for most of us, I think.
Yeah.
So.
We're counting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today we're talking about another classic movie, a black and white, dramatic, comedic, Billy Wilder classic, The Apartment, from 1960. As I mentioned, it's directed by Billy Wilder, legendary movie director and writer. Movies like Some Like It Hot, Sunset Boulevard. There's so many more. Double Indemnity. He has like a huge filmography. He's very well celebrated. He wrote this one with a gentleman named I.A.L. Diamond, who they wrote a bunch of movies together. It stars Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine in the two leading roles. Also has Fred McMurray, Ray Walston, and Jack Crucian. We're kind of running a theme. We have a bunch of like Oscar-winning movies in a row here.
Yeah.
That's because I'm not picking them.
No, that's fair.
Because
Yeah.
the ones I pick are like, have you seen this rom-com?
Yeah. So the last one we did was Amadeus, which was a multi-time Oscar winner. This one also is a multi-time Oscar winner. It won
I'm not
5
surprised.
Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and then Art Direction and Editing. It was also nominated for some others, and interestingly enough, none of the actors won any awards for this one.
That's a travesty. Shirley MacLaine is a gem and should
Yeah.
win every
She
award.
was nominated, though.
She
not?
was, yeah. So Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Jack Crucian, who was the doctor. He also was nominated supporting actor, and don't remember the other ones it was nominated in, but it was widely celebrated. Still is to this day. It's been on dozens and dozens of best movies of all time lists, the AFI list, the Sight and Sound poll. Most recently, it was like number 54 on the top 100 of all time. So it's a very highly regarded movie. As I mentioned, I've seen this movie quite a few times, so it was fun to watch it again. And I think, did I introduce you to this movie, or did you see it somewhere else?
No,
before me?
this one's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these movies are my fault.
Often. That's the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
I had to look it up because Shirley MacLaine, who did not die,
Who did not die?
No.
just a reminder, because Matt has a nasty habit of doing that to people.
Why do you throw me under the bus?
Because you do.
I had to look it up, too, because I wanted to know how old she was when she did this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we figured out she was 25.
25.
She was really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she'd started movies only about 5 years before this. So.
And I gotta say, she rocked the short hair. She's been rocking that short hair now, 6 decades?
Yep.
Yeah.
She looked gorgeous there, just as gorgeous as she is now.
I
Yes.
know. She's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, she's kind of like, it's iconic when you think of Shirley MacLaine. It's not
Yes.
like, oh, with the multiple different. No,
Yeah.
she has a style.
Yes.
She is stuck to it. Yeah, she's wonderful. She hasn't acted in a lot of stuff in the last number of years.
In
She
fairness,
just-
she's 91. She's probably just taking a break.
I mean, that's true. Dick Van Dyke just turned 100,
That's
and
right.
he's been acting since 2 years ago was his last movie?
You and I did see a movie with her in it recently.
I don't remember.
I can't remember the name of it either, but I will make sure I figure that out.
It jogs your memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I fact check us live, it's fine.
She played an eccentric wealthy woman.
Okay.
Older wealthy woman.
That doesn't sound like Shirley MacLaine at all.
No.
Oh, or Only Murders in the Building. In 2022, she was in that.
Oh, interesting. That's a show I've been meaning to watch and have not seen one
It's really
episode
good.
of. But yeah,
It's really
I've
good.
heard
Is
that.
it? Excellent.
We've only watched like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't
Well,
believe
there
we
you go.
haven't seen.
Yeah, we'll do that for a TV series. That would be a long podcast. Oh.
We'll be here for years. She also was an American Dreamer in 2022 and has 2 movies coming out, TBA, on the announcement of the date.
Huh.
Wow.
Really?
There we go.
So we all stand corrected. Shirley
Yeah.
MacLaine.
Love us
She
some
is
Shirley
working.
MacLaine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the second movie we've done with her on the podcast because Steel Magnolias.
Correct.
Which
Which
is
she
why the
is the
reference
best.
to she did not die, because you made it sound like she
Yeah.
did during that one. What? It's fine.
There we go. So yeah, as is tradition with the way this goes, we get to hand the reins over to the two of you, and this is also the second time we're getting shown up on our own podcast because when we've had guests, they've brought handwritten notes again.
And like pages. Kim is so very prepared. Not to sorry, that made it sound awful to Jay.
8 pages.
Kim has
Don't
8
worry
pages
about
of
it.
notes and like a list of themes, which I'm so here for.
Yeah.
And I have like emojis in my notes. So perfect.
There we go. I'm excited. So
Part of that is I just don't have a great memory, so I have to make sure that I can remember everything that I'm thinking when I watch the film.
that's
I get
fair.
it.
So,
Have
yeah.
you listened to the segment of Rapid Thoughts with Jess, whereas everything I'm thinking goes into my notes? I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay. This movie, classic Jack Lemmon.
Yes.
Right? Like, just the look, his mannerisms, just the way he acts. Classic Mr. Lemmon. The part, or I guess the thing about the movie that really surprised me was the actual setting, right? It's an apartment where... Are we allowed to swear on here?
Absolutely.
Oh, please.
Fire
it's
away.
A fuck
Have we
shack,
met?
right? That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was you know how looking at it from the eyes of a person in 2025, it would be looked at quite a bit differently when that movie came out.
Yeah.
I would think. Yes, it's over the
Absolutely.
top and all that kind of stuff, but now it's creepy.
Yeah.
Right? Until you get into the characters and you get under a couple of layers and things like that, and you can actually see that these are, some of these characters that are most prominent in the movie, they're human beings. They have feelings and emotions and all that kind of stuff. But just on the outside, like the opening when they first go to the apartment, and there's Mr. I can't remember the name.
Dobish, I
Yeah,
think. is the
that's
first one,
right. Yeah,
One of the misters. There's
Yeah,
many.
that are taking young women to this apartment
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
That are not their wives.
that are not their
Their
wives.
wives.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of those apartments in like New York, like those brownstone
Yeah,
apartments
yeah.
that nowadays it would cost a fortune, and people look at them and it's like, oh, so chic, so
Yeah.
small, these tiny studio apartments, like everybody wants them.
And
Yeah.
I think he says in it that he's living like 2 blocks off Central Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind of, me being me, the researcher, I'm got on my phone and I'm looking, and like that's like where John Lennon lived. Like
Yeah.
we're not talking a cheap area, right?
No,
Yeah.
for $80 what is it? $80 a
$80
month
a
was
month.
the rent, but $85 since his landlady put in the secondhand air conditioner, and I was like,
Yeah.
$85 a month,
Yeah.
and then I cried in $25. So.
But still a very modern apartment. He had an ice box. He had a secondhand air conditioner. He had a remote control, for goodness sake, for his TV. It
Yeah.
was a box with a wire that went to the TV. But
Couldn't
in
pick it up.
1960, that was probably pretty modern.
Yep.
I
Yep.
would say.
100%. And you see a lot of the other stuff, like the product placement in that movie.
Yes.
There's the adding machines.
Yeah.
There's
The Kleenex box that
exactly.
literally shows the
That
branding on
actually
there.
says
Yeah.
Kleenex right on it, right? Like and facing the camera, right? So everybody can see,
Yeah.
right? So it was kind of interesting to see how modern. Again, you're looking at a black and white film, but how modern the movie making process was.
Yeah.
Then, right?
Yeah.
So
And I did laugh a little because you're talking about product placement and you mentioned the remote control. When he's watching the TV and he starts with the movie and it's like, and now a word from our sponsors. He's like, okay, well, fuck it, I'm going to switch back. And then he comes back and it's like, now a word from our secondary sponsors. And I'm like, man, good to know advertising sucked in the 50s too.
Yeah. But the best is like, are you smoking the wrong cigarettes? Great.
Yeah.
Goodness, maybe I am.
So you have to watch that. The second time we watched the movie, I had to say to myself, I have to watch this in the context of 1960. Because we have had this conversation before that a lot of things that were filmed years ago are not necessarily appropriate now.
Oh yeah.
And number one being the biggest shock for me, and I always think about this, is that as a kid growing up, every Friday night we watched Dallas, Love Boat, and Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Right? And my husband,
What a wild
Jason,
Friday.
Yeah, I know. When I was little, right? My husband on Tubi found, was it Tubi?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tubi found a 24/7 Love Boat channel.
Yeah.
And we actually watched a couple episodes, and I was mortified.
Yeah.
At how bad it was. Like, we actually changed the name to Rape Boat. Because there's men going around this boat the whole time trying to, convince women to sleep with them in not so nice ways.
Yeah.
Right? So
my feelings about Goldfinger come to mind
Yes.
here.
Well, even think of something like early Family Feud. Like watching Richard Dawson host Family Feud is just like, oh no, like every one of these women are in danger.
yeah. Right?
Danger.
So getting back into the context of 1960 to watch that film, then I was able to enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because of that. Things about the apartment though too. Like, again, me being me, who's changing the sheets? How come I'm not seeing the sheets being changed? That freaks me out. I'm sorry. That was freaking me out. And then, the never-ending giving of the couch with all the women's, hair clips and lipsticks and compacts.
And I found another hairpin. I'll just throw it over there. Ugh.
Yeah. Jack Lemmon's character clearly doesn't have a lot of, attachment to his own apartment anymore, because he clearly is already lending it out to 4 people and eventually a 5th person throughout the movie. So he just kind of is he's straining spaghetti through his tennis racket.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily have a lot of I'm going to buy a lot of things for this. It's no, I have to keep booze and cheese crackers in stock for these morons and the women they're bringing back.
I think that the tennis racket was the way to just remind the audience that he is still a bachelor.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is a very bachelor thing to do.
Yeah.
I was going to say, guys at the table, did you ever strain your pasta with tennis rackets before us?
No, it would probably have little yellow ball fuzzies in the rackets that he'd have to clean out.
Yeah, it's too much work that way.
Work environment because the movie opens with him talking about living in New York City and that he works for this insurance company, and that the insurance company, I think it had something like 35,000 employees. And you see him, that typical New York scene of everybody entering into the building at 9 o'clock or whatever time it would be.
Well, they had staged start times because there were so many people in that building.
Yeah, they only had so many elevators. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then going to the elevator blank. One of the first things I noticed too is that, I swear to God, he was wearing women's sunglasses in that.
Oh, you would notice that. It's very on brand for you, Kim.
As an optician, that's what I noticed.
Little backstory. Kim and Jess used to work together at an optometrist's office. So.
Yeah, I was going to say very on brand. Love it. I didn't notice, but now you're saying that. I'm like, I could see it.
Yeah.
And I remember you and I having a conversation, Matt, about Barbie and how you were saying in that movie Barbie how they pulled scenes from old movies and she kind of recreated them. And I felt that at the beginning of this movie, because you saw them all come out of the elevator and they all hung their hats up, and then they all sat at the exact same desk with the same adding machines. Row on row, exactly. And it was like, oh, I know what Matt's saying now.
Well, and actually, to get real nerdy about it, there is a very old, I know, it's shocking.
Sorry.
There is a very old silent movie called The Crowd, which is a very dramatic movie about somebody working in New York City in the just before the Depression, so or late 1920s. And there's all these shots of people with adding machines in row on row on row. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was a visual reference for like, hey, this is a thing that like the stereotypical office setting started in this movie and just got recreated over and over again. And you look at it and go, right, okay, this is pre-cubicle New York office life, basically.
But it was also the American dream. Like, we're just coming out of the 50s.
Yep.
Post World War II, right? And it was like you were going to have an office job and you were going to commute into New York or live in New York, right? And you were going to rise to the ranks and into middle management and then up from there. And Jack Lemmon's character most definitely is striving for that, because this is how he's ending up lending his apartment to all of these managers that he works under to try and get ahead, because they're going to put a good word in for him.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to live the American dream very much.
For sure. But that was that whole setup was very male dominated, right? Like that whole there was, you know, you could be a switchboard operator or answering the phone because you were the receptionist or whatever, or you could
or run the elevator.
Run the elevator,
right?
Yeah.
As a woman, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say until you're married, right?
That's right.
Because there's not a single one of those women that are referred to as Mrs. anyone. It's always Miss.
Yes.
Yeah, except for Mrs. Sheldrake, who you rarely see.
Well, I mean, the women working in the building are all Miss, right? Yeah, it's a bit wild. And that's, I mean, you talk about it being post-World War II, it's not far off women not having been in the workforce at all.
That's right.
This is true.
So this is kind of that, like, oh, I guess we can let you work, but then when you're married, make sure you go home and cook, which,
and raise your babies.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it really dropping the ball.
And of course, that was something that they went back to, right? Because World War II time, it was not that way.
No.
It was the women have to carry the weight of working in factories and as industrial revolution. Exactly. And then when you get into this time, you have all the men coming back to those quote unquote important jobs, and the women go back to being receptionists, being hotel runners, being whatever, and most of them being like, actually fuck this, like I don't and most of the women in the movie that you do see are always kind of like suspiciously eyeing up what are these morons doing through most of the movie, and kind of like don't really get down with. All the men are just, oh, we're in charge and gender norms, and oh, I can philander around with whoever I want. And the women, even the ones they're messing around with, are sort of like, okay, but also I will call your wife after, after I get fired.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah, I know, but
she's the hero of my story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do have to.
We'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. But we do have to mention the movie's in black and white, but Ms. MacLaine is drop dead gorgeous.
Yes.
Just, it was her first movie, right? The first movie she did? One of the first.
It was her biggest, at first, it catapulted her. Okay. She'd done about 6 or 7 movies in the 4 years before this, but this was the one that was like Jack Lemmon was already a star.
Yeah.
He'd done Some Like It Hot and had done a few others that he would like come up in the ranks. And this was Shirley MacLaine's like, oh, I'm an A-lister now. And
Yes, I feel that I must, because I like to fact check us all live. You all know this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies before The Apartment.
Wow.
Between 55 through 59, or 60, because The Apartment's in 60.
Yeah.
She has named appearances in all of those. And then, in 1960, she's also in Ocean's 11, and her role is Tipsy Woman, uncredited cameo.
Wow.
So, excellent.
Yeah.
Well done.
Which tells you how quickly she became a star, that she could just be thrown in a movie, and it's like, oh, there's drunk Shirley MacLaine. Like, everybody knew who she was immediately.
Yeah.
So.
Or it could have been filmed before The Apartment.
Absolutely, it could have been.
So the work culture there, because women are only in these roles of, like you said, switchboard and elevator and all of that, and secretary. This work culture then is created this dating pool for the managers, right? And it's just like, who are we going to hit up next? And then they have these conversations about Shirley MacLaine's character in particular, about who's going to bed her first, that kind of thing. And it's just like, ugh, I want to be sick. But again, context of the time.
That's right.
It's Mad Men.
Yes.
It's Mad Men before Mad Men was a show.
Absolutely.
That's an excellent comment.
I said that to you. It said it feels like Mad Men. And
that was an excellent comment then too. Kim.
There I go, not listening.
Yeah.
So Jason giving all the credit to the men.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Fred MacMurray. Because in that role, and again, I'm not a huge fan. Like, my experience with Fred MacMurray's, well, he's a dad on Disney movies.
Yeah.
Right.
All in the Family. He was the dad in all of the family.
All in the family, and like My Three Sons. That was like 15 years. He was the dad on that show, and is like the wholesome all-American guy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it was just an interesting juxtaposition to see him play that kind of creep. Well, it was a creep, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And I didn't feel like he was a creep, though, until he has the conversation with CC Baxter about, I understand, where he's like, I know everything that's going on in this office and this company, and I understand that you have an apartment.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like this real, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's also not a nice guy.
Yeah, you're not getting promoted because everybody's put in a good word for you. You're getting promoted for what he can do.
That way. He comes
At
across
the beginning.
very nice, very well spoken. The rest of the dudes are sort of like either sniveling or like have cracking voices, and you're sort of like, oh, okay, you're sort of you're that guy. And then, oh, I'm the head of personnel and I'm well spoken and I have this family and that and then it's like, and I'm just as bad, if not worse.
So. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, and Kim, you kind of said, like, the work, the way that because it's so male-driven, it's also power dynamics, right? Like, what are these women supposed to say? Are you going to say no? Or are you going to do stuff? Because if you say anything, you become Miss Olson, who I don't want to step on your toes. I know you both have thoughts about her. But if you do something untowards, you don't have a job. And then what does that look like? Because now your American dream is tied to this. Do you go get another job? Can you get another job in New York City?
Job? That's right.
Like, I mean, we just finished talking about how the job market's awful here, but in 2025. But can you get another job if people, because it's so obviously so tied to word of mouth, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Well, and Fran says that, right? Shirley MacLaine's character says at one point, she said, I got involved with someone back home in Pittsburgh and I got really attached and they broke my heart and I had to move to New York and now I'm repeating the pattern.
Well, he also, that particular human's accounts were missing money, and so
he's in jail.
He asked her to wait because he's in jail, which, talk about a bunch of winning dudes in the movie, hey?
Yeah.
But again, a really well written story. For as simple as there's guys bringing chicks back to this apartment for rendezvous, but it's all that other stuff, and the way that CC Baxter, the way his character was built on by the other characters, you're seeing different sides of him, and then also Shirley MacLaine's character. It wasn't until like 3/4 of the way through the movie that you really get to kind of know her differently than that gorgeous face at the elevator.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Quirky.
Yeah. No, it's very like, I don't know how many older movies that Billy Wilder ever did the two of you have seen, but like he's kind of known as one of the best screenwriters of all time. And he, even before he was a director, used to write screenplays for other directors, and he's an Austrian Jewish Austrian immigrant that left because things were going well in Germany and Austria in the late 1930s, so he came to America famously, real good. But he's known for having very good characters, even like well-written characters that are not fleshed out, like the four men that are getting the key passed around. They have really good lines, and it's really well written, even if they're shallow characters. And like the doctor character, his wife is their neighbors. Everybody has these really fun moments or lines or like one scenes where it's like, man, his landlady is really like, she's railing against him, marching up and down. What are you doing? Army maneuvers. Like, they just have these nice little moments, and that's a Billy Wilder thing with a lot of his movies.
I didn't realize that he was Austrian Jewish, because one of the things that I did notice is that all the characters' names were Eastern European.
Yes.
And I just wondered if that was a stereotype of the 60s, but maybe that's what he knew.
That's exactly it. So that's also a thing in his movies, is he very frequently will have characters with different ethnicities, even if a lot of them are white. You'll have someone that is Jewish. You'll have somebody that very much comes across as Eastern European, or even French, or
Italian is the cabbie, the brother-in-law, right?
Yes,
typical kind of New York Italian.
But
that's a thing.
With his hat.
His hat and leather jacket.
Yeah.
And not only does he have characters like that, but he also a lot of times puts them in roles where it's like, I mean, the main role of someone who is very clearly the Jewish immigrant is a doctor.
Yes.
And he puts those characters into spots where, like, this is a knowledgeable professional person, not the butt of a joke. Because the butt of the jokes are the idiot Americans and the typical kind of whatever this is, men behaving badly. And the people that seem to know better are, in this case, the, Jewish doctor that comes in and tells him to be a mensch. And,
Yeah. I did also, too, want to say, like, we talked about Shirley MacLaine rocking her hairstyle for 60 years. It was not very common for women to have short hair like that in 1960.
No.
So she was like an uncommon beauty in that sense, and he took her and put her in that role. That would have been a something that differentiated that movie from others in this period, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like, since you mentioned the hair, I have a note about, listen, Sheldrake sucks is my opening on that line. But when he says to her, well, I liked your hair better long. And I've written, I don't believe she asked you, dickbag. I'm with you, though. It's cool. As somebody who has short hair, arguably we both have shorter hair. Yeah. It's cool to be able to see that as as the sort of prototype. And of course, in the 60s, like later on, shorter hair became more of a thing. But
kind of Mia Farrow was well known for short hair as well, but she also started out with longer hair. Twiggy.
I was going to say Twiggy's the one that comes to mind.
And that's an interesting thing especially with Shirley MacLaine at that point in time, because this was the 60s and there wasn't a lot of these, but after this movie, within a few years, she was in a very well-known for the time movie called The Children's Hour, which is based on a play where she plays a woman that is a teacher who is accused by one of the students of being in a lesbian relationship with Audrey Hepburn, who is also a teacher at this school. And this little girl kind of spreads this rumor and tells her mother, and basically the movie is about the fallout of this like rumor that she's a gay woman, and it plays on the stereotype of the short hair with it. And that didn't happen often at that point, but it's a really good movie. Like, it's a very melodramatic movie, but it's a very early example of a lesbian character put into a like he said she said melodrama kind of thing, but in the 60s with somebody with that kind of short hair.
I did laugh because you're talking about like the sort of corporate environment, right? Matt said to me, "This is what it looks like for you at work." Full disclosure, I also work in insurance, and there's a moment where I was like, if we talk about premiums, I'm having PTSD. Like, why? And I was like, yes, this is absolutely what my office looks like, 100%. Couldn't be anything different. We have one elevator. Nobody operates it. It's fine. Yeah.
It would not have taken you 20 minutes to reschedule 3 appointments, though. Like it did.
Yeah,
he got sick.
Right.
Well, because he had to phone everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Rolodex, rotary phone.
Yeah.
What a time. Very.
So talking about those 4 managers and his Jack Lemmon's character, CC Baxter's, you could see that he was conflicted because he wanted to be able to get ahead. Right? Yeah. Go into upper management. He was really proud of the fact that his name went on the board in the basement, like on the ground level.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And how it was happening was wrong in a way. And I was thinking about how those 4 guys were using him. I wrote their names down somewhere.
Oh, let's see if I can remember this.
Kirkby,
Dobish,
Vandroff.
Yeah.
And Eichenberg.
Eichelberg.
Oh, yes.
Eichelberg.
There you go.
They kind of treated him a bit like a woman. Because they used him. They used him for the apartment. They would kick him out of his apartment at 11 o'clock at night. I think it was Dobish that found the Marilyn Monroe lookalike.
Yeah, that's right.
Phones them and says, I'm bringing this woman to your apartment. Get out. And he's sick. And he's like, no, I'm sick. And he's like, no, I'm coming. You know?
Hey, buddy boy.
Yeah, buddy boy. Yeah. Some of their terminology, right? Yeah. And they would drink all his booze. They would eat all his food. Yeah. Kick him out of his apartment. And then he was always making a promise, just like they were making to these women, that they're going to leave their wives. And always making him a promise they're going to have him move up into management. They really didn't do that. It was Shelbrick that did it. Yeah. Right? So I think about that, and I was like, yeah, in a way, they're treating him very much like the dames they're bringing back.
Yep. So. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. You don't get a ton of the, like, CC Baxter backstory, I guess, where he talks about, like, I lent my apartment to somebody once and then word got around and I couldn't stop saying no. Yeah. But that's kind of all you get. You don't really get if it's he's a weak person, or, he's really... You kind of figure out that he's promotion hungry for whatever reason. But we're dropped in at the point where he's already, up to his eyeballs in giving his apartment key away for whatever. But yeah, they don't have any regard for him at all, because as soon as he stops accommodating them, they stop giving any shit about him. At all.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And they're like, we only just want it one day a week. Like, you have a girl and that's fine. There's 4 of you morons. That's 4 days a week.
Well, and it's not, though. Some of them are more than 1 day a week. Like, Dobish, I think, met that other girl at the bar, and that was the
second time that week or whatever.
Yeah. So let's talk about Shelbrick.
Sheldrake.
Drake.
Sheldrake.
Yeah.
What a winner.
I know. Again, a little shocked to see Fred McMahon in that character. Yeah. Because I was always known him as My Three Sons. Yeah. I used to watch that as a kid because it was on reruns then. And yes, it's supposed to be the nice guy, and then you find out that not only is he sleeping with Shirley MacLaine, but he has also slept with the secretary. Yeah. And you wonder how many before. And it was Miss Olson, right?
Yeah. Miss Olson, yeah, you got it.
Again, awesome glasses.
Great. Yes. Great glasses.
Great glasses. But you have to wonder with her, like, she's the only character who really knows what's going on. And she dons, like, she goes and she clues into all of it when she goes into the bar, the Hawaiian Tiki bar. Yeah. And she sees in the dark, in the back corner, Fran, was Fran, right? Yeah. Fran coming out and being upset, and she kind of knew.
Puts 2 and 2
together.
She
pieces it together because she's familiar with this bar.
She's seen this strategy before, let's say, right? So yeah, to me, she's one of the stronger characters because she's the one who basically propels the story because she's the one who calls his wife. Yeah. And kind of lets everything explode. And what is the first thing he does when he leaves the house? And you have to remember, like, I also thought too, I know we're not stupid, but like, how could they not see this? Like, people did not divorce back then. Yeah. Really, like, very few did people not very often did people divorce. Yeah. So did they really think that these guys are going to leave their wives? And the chances are no, they're not, right? But this is, again, propelling the story forward. And then as soon as he is kicked out of the house and he's no longer living in the suburbs and he is now at the club, he doesn't want to marry Fran at all. He's just like, I'm going to be a bachelor for a while.
I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to let things cool down. I'm going to enjoy being a bachelor.
Yeah, exactly.
Good idea, dum-dum.
But he gets to do that too, right? Like, he can live that life. Yeah. And he says at one point to Bud, CC, he has many names, at some point, like, oh, you must be, like, you're so lucky you're a bachelor and you get to have all these dames. He actually uses the word dames, and I was like, okay, pal. So he's trying to do that, but he gets to do that. Do you think Mrs. Sheldrake gets to do that? No. Now she's going to have the stigma of being a divorcee and having 2 children she has to take care of. Yeah. He does reference to having to go to Reno for 6 weeks. Oh, I just have to go 6 weeks in Reno because that was how you could get divorced. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what a hard time for you. Because there was some law, and I know this from Mad Men. That's the only reason this is coming up. But there's a law that in Reno, Nevada, if you were there for 6 weeks, you could establish, I think, residency, and as long as you had established residency, you could get a quickie divorce. It was like the only place in the States that you could.
Yeah.
Oh, so really? He was like, well, I'll just move down, and then it'll be 6 weeks in Reno, and then Fran, then.
Yeah.
Like, okay, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's pretty telling, and even watching this time around, there's a little bit on Christmas Day when Baxter has to call him because the thing we haven't talked about yet has happened, and he's letting Sheldrake know. It's like, hey, this is serious, da da da, and he's calling during Christmas, and so you have him playing like with the Christmas presents, the like missile launching toys that he's gotten, and both of his kids are like spouting off about, well, we should take the 2 rockets and try and get it into orbit, and like spouting these very scientific things, and he's just kind of like, sorry, who did the what now? And the kids come across as smarter than him.
Yes.
His secretary is smarter than him. The woman that is his mistress is smarter than him. Everybody else seems to be smarter than him, including his wife, because she eventually gets clued in and immediately doesn't take any of that for anything.
Kicks him out.
So it just like this movie does a very good job of making him looks like the biggest moron in his immediate family and everyone that's close to him at work, as well as a bunch of other people. And the only person that is closer to him that seems smarter is Baxter.
Yeah.
But he plays dumb to save himself, or to be like, oh yeah, I have all these women up here and it's all on me, and he's just taking it on the chin. Yeah. But he knows eventually better, and Sheldrake just comes across looking like, wow, your 12-year-olds are smarter than you.
Yeah, because when you get to the I guess the where Fran actually takes those sleeping pills. Mm-hmm. Again, that's at Baxter's place, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe you could fill me in on that, but like that was Sheldrake saying, no, we're not. I can't. Can't marry you, can't do this, can't do that. And Shirley MacLaine's character knew that she was doing something wrong. And I think all that kind of just built up. But I can't remember where the sleeping pills came from.
Well, it's because Miss Olson, so the queen of Kim's favorite person, she clues her in. Yeah. So at the Christmas party.
Oh, that's right.
She's drunk at the holiday party.
Yeah, company party.
Which I can tell you, none of my corporate parties have ever looked like that.
Mine neither. Women dancing on tables, people making out in offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, back to that culture of this is the dating pool.
Yeah.
And I also noticed, too, throughout the movie that there was... That would have been quite risque to have people making out on the screen in 1960. Mm-hmm. And they were doing that in this room and, like, quite on top of each other kind of thing, like teenagers, really. Mm-hmm. They had it then, and they had Shirley MacLaine kissing Fred McMahon's character in the back of a taxi, I think it was, as well. But at no point... And spoiler alert, when Baxter
for an old movie,
when Baxter and Fran end up together at the end, I don't even think they've touched each other. At this point, haven't. Right? No. And it's all done with writing in that very subtle way in the lines that they're using and the words that they're using. And I thought that was really interesting. Her response being like, "Oh, well, we'll send him a Christmas cake or something like that, right?
Send him a fruit cake every day."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that work party was.
Yeah, can confirm. I don't know about you guys, but I've never had a work party that's looked like that.
No, that's right.
And that might actually be another Billy Wilder-ish thing, where he has a lot of other of his movies where he does some very outrageous things. Like Some Like It Hot is one of those where it's like, oh, okay, this is hilariously outrageous. Yeah. He has other movies that he goes even further over the top with the like capitalism party atmosphere sort of thing. And it's probably like what he thinks went on at those holiday parties, because it's just like, oh, it's American excess. It's just, of course they would put tables together and the women would take their garters off and do the can.
And everybody be drinking openly in the office.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was probably more common than the Christmas party was.
But back to your comment about the realization is that, and Matt's going to love me for this, the director made some very deliberate decisions about those points of realization between CC Baxter and Fran. So the realization when she figures out from Miss Olson that she's being played.
Yeah.
The realization when she is sitting on New Year's Eve in the tiki bar that she's in the wrong place with the wrong person. And then he closes up onto their face, and they kind of have that, Shirley MacLaine has that like sort of blank stare into, oh shit, like look,
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, and CC Baxter, same thing when he finds the when Fran pulls out her compact, and it was the one that he had found in the couch, and it had the crack in the mirror, and he was like, oh, now I know who this woman is that Fred McMahon is bringing back to my apartment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
That's the turn of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like everything is sort of like, oh, this is pretty funny. This is a funny little sex comedy, and the men are behaving badly, and the blah blah blah, and that happens, and it's just like, oh, okay, now we fully understand. Like, he connects who everybody is. Baxter's the one who figures out exactly what it is, even if Shirley MacLaine doesn't know she's in his apartment. He is the one that, oh shit, and that's when he starts to like not be as happy about his next promotion and not be as, there's a lot in there about his character that just kind of does that turn of things. It's a little like, this is a newer movie that you may have seen. Have you ever seen In Bruges?
No.
With Colin. Okay.
Oh,
also one you should put on the list. It is excellent, but it's a comedy made
notes
by
on movies to watch.
Yeah, it's made by the same director and writer as like the Banshees of Inisherin and
we've
Martin
seen
McDonagh.
that. Yeah.
Same idea and same actors. It's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in it.
Oh,
they're
okay.
phenomenal. And there's a moment in that movie where there's this turn of it being this kooky, funny movie about two hitmen that suddenly is just like, oh, the rest of the movie pivots after this moment. So yeah, it's a really good watch too. Would highly recommend.
So yeah, you're definitely right. All those three moments were sort of like turning points throughout the movie when and again propelling the story along a little bit more.
Yeah. And they focus on the faces.
On the face. Yeah. So needless to say, Shirley MacLaine understands now that she's being played. She meets Shell. I always say this wrong. Shell Drake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Doesn't roll off the tongue so much.
Shell Drake at the apartment, not knowing that it is CC Baxter's, and then confronts him about it, and he leaves because he has to make it home in time for Christmas with his kids.
Has to trim the tree, and it's almost 7.
Yeah.
I have some questions about how your fucking tree's not already up at 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve, but who am I?
But not before giving her Christmas present from him.
Right. Which,
speaking of looking like the stupidest man in the room, let me give you $100 bill after some favors, but I'm not paying you for those.
That's it.
And how degrading is that?
If I ever gave you $100 bill and said, "Here's $100, go buy yourself something nice," I would expect you to throw a chair at me.
I would be attending your funeral.
I'd be buying new keys. And you'd be outside. Thank you. Good. Yeah.
Although in $2025, like that's over $1,000.
It's true. It's not it's not just 100.
I'm definitely not making an excuse.
And now, Kim, we know what you're getting for Christmas.
But that would be that to me. Sitting in the theater in 1960, this movie came out. Well, $100. Well, wow, right? Yeah. Obviously, either he's trying to just make her go away, or he has some sort of feelings for her. Is what I got out of it.
Yeah, fair.
He's not trying to make her go away. I also don't believe that he has a lot of strong feelings for her. She's easy. She's there. He doesn't want to lose his mistress. But it's not that she's not easily replaced. Yeah. In that sense, right? Like,
and 31,000 people look around now.
Yeah. And so, the $100 bill. And the fact that she really knew, like, you could tell she was so upset, and the fact that she put it in an envelope and addressed it back to him, knowing like she wasn't going to take that money. She wasn't going to let herself or her feelings be bought.
Yeah, right? That was effectively her suicide note.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
$100 bill, which I found was really brilliant in the writing. Like that was it. Like you say, that was the note. That was this is why I'm doing this.
Sending the strong message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But saying a lot without having to say anything, right?
That's right.
Like, she didn't have to sit down and write a note. She just went,
right?
here's what we're doing. Yeah, it's a really strong writer choice. I liked it a lot, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't, because you know what's happening. But, like, I like the choice. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
With Jason on this one.
And then Baxter coming home and finding her in his bed, overdosed. And then there's sort of the comedic thing with he has to run and get the doctor and the whole thing. And they're marching her up and down and giving her coffee. And the doctor's giving her him heck the whole time.
Yeah.
So that was very well done. But you also saw the softer side of Baxter and you realize, okay, yeah, no, he really is a nice guy. He's just was lost for a little bit with this whole idea of being in management and moving his career forward because he sleeps beside her all night.
Yeah.
In a chair, and not a comfortable looking chair.
No,
right?
no, just the side of a hospital chair.
Right,
probably.
and he doesn't want her to go home, and he doesn't want her to face any humiliation with her sister, and he doesn't want her to go, like, he's trying to prepare her food, even though he's ill-equipped to do so, and yeah.
I really enjoyed watching Jack Lemmon play that part of the movie because, especially when she was, laying in the bed, Shirley MacLaine was laying in the bed after the doctor had helped out. Then Jack Lemmon is thinking about all the other, like the window, right?
Yeah.
He kept playing the window, like, don't jump out the window. The razor blades,
Razor blades.
right?
Yes.
Like, he even took them out and put them in his shirt pocket.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just little things like that, just, to me, conveyed that, okay, we're going to, the audience has to think here. We're going to show them how serious this is, right? And it's still doing it with some comedy to it.
Yeah, it's there's some points where in that like sequence that is the deadly serious center of the movie where it's really funny. Like, it is genuinely, like, there's some hard moments where the doctor's feeding her coffee and slapping her to keep her awake, which is, like, that's also a little shocking.
Yeah, that was a little shocking. In 2025, it's shocking,
He just keeps going.
Yeah, and I like how the medical professional answer is smelling salt coffee and slap the woman in the face repeatedly.
He does inject her, though, with what I believe would have been adrenaline.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And pumps her stomach. So, like, there's all of that in there. But
that happens off screen, though. You get coffee and slapping on screen.
And marching.
And marching.
And that's the part where you're like, okay, now this is quite funny. And it's the, like, it makes the really serious part kind of a lot more palatable and okay, because, like, it's okay to laugh now. Yeah. This is fine. Yeah. Like, it's a serious subject and it's going to continue to be serious, but they inject humor all the way through it.
And I'd wager to say a serious subject that was still probably a little taboo.
Very much
in 1960. So
for sure.
You had to have the humor, otherwise I think it would have been too shocking for the audience.
That's a good comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It might have thrown the audience way off, and maybe nobody would have liked it, right?
Yeah.
Makes it a more relatable subject.
Maybe we wouldn't be talking about this movie 65 years later.
Exactly.
Sorry to do that math for everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry. I want to kind of marry two things. Haha, from Kim and Jason. But you talked about Bud being a little bit more, like, you can see how he cares. And the two of you have both said that, right? Like, it's this kind of... you can see how his brain's thinking, and it's a very serious moment. And I think that's where you start to see him. So you're talking about him caring, and you're talking about how their relationship is written in, but you don't get an outright like, hey, we're gonna get together.
Yeah.
I think these are the moments where you see that, right? You're talking about him sitting in the chair, also him thinking, oh, hey, I don't want this woman to off herself in my apartment, in the apartment, but also he cares enough about her to think, I don't want this to happen. I'm going to put these where she can't get these razor blades. Yeah. I'm going to be like, and he goes running in with the gas too, right? When she turns on the stove, and he's like banging down the door, and he's like, oh, are you okay? And she's like, I was just washing your socks. He's like, did you light the stove? Right? It sounds like she's trying to Sylvia Plath her way out of there. So, I think it kind of marries those 2 points, right? Where the point of the relationship starts to be clear here, and you also get to see that he's a human who cares about people.
If it had been one of the other 4 gentlemen that he works with that use the apartment, they would have looked at her on the bed, seen the sleeping pills, and walked out.
They
Called
would
the
have
ambulance and walked away.
I don't even know if they would have called the ambulance, because they would not want to be associated with someone who had committed suicide, right? and they would not want that to mar their marriages or their career opportunities, etc.
Well, God forbid that be tracked back to them.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it makes sense. And it's one of the things I have always found really interesting about this movie, no matter how many times I watch it, is that it really, like, even though Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine end up together at the end of the movie, it's funny to, like, try and figure out the moment in the movie where Jack Lemmon is actually like, oh, I think I'm in love with this woman. Because he doesn't say it until the very end, right?
Yes.
In that moment where she runs back. But there's all these moments where it's like, pretty girl operating the elevator. I'm friendly. She's friendly. We have a nice conversation and off we go. He's not the one trying to grab her ass or make bad comments or make a pass to be like, oh, whatever. The one time he does ask her out is when he gets free tickets to the Music Man at the theater. And it's just like, would you like to go?
Given to him, though, so he will vacate the apartment.
Absolutely, yeah. But
he's like, the same woman.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I'm going to try. Like, yeah, would you like to go to this? Like, doesn't make any indication that it's like, I am going to ask you out because I am deeply in love with you. It's like, no, is this person I have a conversation with? Because he doesn't really have anybody else in his life at that point.
I would kind of disagree, though. I think he was pretty sweet on her right from the beginning. Because he doesn't talk to any of the other women in the office the way he speaks to her.
And he always takes his hat off in her elevator.
And he always takes, and that's a sign of respect. Her point of, oh, I actually am in love with him, and I didn't realize it, was New Year's Eve in the tiki bar. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but
you mean in the fire death trap of a bar? When we rewatched that, Matt was like, "This whole thing is a fire hazard. They've got candles going. They've got streamers throwing through the air, candles."
Don't tell our oldest son. Right? Yeah. Now the firefighter.
Yeah.
So, I was like, it was 1960, Matt. It's okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't now. We're not doing that now.
But it's funny because he does have that backstory. He does tell eventually of like, well, yeah, okay, and he's relating to her about the story of, I did actually try to commit suicide once too, and I did it terribly and had a gun and accidentally shot myself in the knee, which is played off as a funny story, and you wonder, it's like, maybe he's just telling that as a whatever, and then near the end of the movie when he's packing up, he pulls the gun out of his drawer, and it's like, oh, okay, that was real. So it's like, he was probably a little bit, I like this person, but like, hey, I got burned and almost did the same thing before, so maybe he wasn't ready to kind of jump in, which is maybe why he let people walk all over him and use his apartment for other things, because he's like, well, I don't have to worry about that. So
yeah, that's true, right? And she remembers that when was it the doctor she runs into in the hallway, or she runs into someone and they say, oh, he's moving or he's packing or something, and that's when
it's Sheldrake. He says, he can't go back to the apartment. He wouldn't give me the key.
Right. He wouldn't give me the key. And then she's like, she remembers that story and freaks out and runs.
Yeah.
Right?
And thinks she's hearing a gunshot, but he's just opening the champagne.
Champagne, yeah.
And then also, can we talk about that champagne bottle real quick? Has anybody ever had champagne that just continually spills over for like an entire minute while he's having a conversation in the door?
Uniformly at the same flow. Yeah.
That wasn't done on purpose, was it? I was like, this champagne's real bubbly. Look at that go. But yeah, it's that. I think those are the moments where you're like, and Jason, you've alluded to this, that like writing is so good in this movie because it's so subtle.
And note how we got that champagne too, because that was when Dobish comes over with the Marilyn Monroe lookalike.
Oh yes,
and then realizes
she's there, that
he's got another woman in the apartment, and then the only reason he leaves is because he's like, oh, right on, buddy boy, like you dog kind of thing.
You got Fran, where to go? Well, he doesn't call her that, but
yeah.
Ew. God, that's so gross. I also have, just because we're talking about, because I have notes, a surprise to no one. One of the things, and because while CC is probably, I would argue, maybe like the moral compass of the men in this movie, there's definitely a moment where you want to like reach through the screen and slap him because she's like, well, I have to go back to my house, like I did this thing, whatever. He goes, it's okay, you just got over emotional. And I'm like, That's like if I get mad, because there's this thing
right.
there's like an Instagram meme or whatever that's like, if your wife gets mad, tie a kitchen towel around her neck and tell her she's super mad. You'll either get a laugh or you'll be dead. You'd be dead.
I'd be dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a moment where I'm like, this is a super mad. Like, if you tried to kill yourself, you just got over emotional.
Yeah.
Sir. Yeah, there's a couple of moments with Bud where you're like, you are also a product of the
time. But he's also at that time, too, also trying to balance the fact that he's spoken to Fred McMahon's character now, who's refused to speak to McMurray, sorry. Refused.
His last names are just not okay, I know,
honestly. Who's refused to speak to her on the phone, knowing that she's tried to commit suicide. So he's trying to balance this, like, I don't want you to go back to the office. I don't want you to try and contact him right away.
Yeah.
Because he knows she's still fragile.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a few, I have another one somewhere here, too, where I'm like, yeah, Bud, you're very much a product of the time. Like, he's not in a bad way, but there are a few moments where you're like, yes, you are definitely a dude in 1960.
Yeah.
Which you're always going to get, and that's... I
mean,
think part of this movie is I think pointing a lot of that out and going like, look how terrible these people are. Even the people that are the good people are getting... Like, there's even a moment where he talks... There's that really great repetitive line where everybody at the office seems to use the suffix wise. Like, we're doing well, productivity-wise. Or, that's the way things crumble, cookie-wise. It's like one of the guys he lends his apartment to says that early on, and then Baxter keeps repeating it. And Fran at one point says, "You're already beginning to sound like him," and that's like, it's like the bad part affects the good part, and
it's the first instance of corporate jargon. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
I did write down actually the language used, because I did notice that it was like some terms that, of course, we don't use today that just stood out, like you dig, beatnik, good time Charlie, honky tonk, King Farouk. Or Farouk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No action.
Yeah. No action. Buddy boy. Like, I was like, and something about a sex pot, too. And Slugsville. What was Slugsville? I don't remember what that was.
Oh, it was like just somebody that was like super slow. Or
no, it's Slugsville when he gets knocked out by the brother-in-law.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he's gone to Slugsville.
Yeah, I went to Slugsville or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beatnik's and you dig. I liked you dig. I think it's Sheldrake who says it too. He's like, you dig? And I'm like, dude, no, I don't want to dig, sir.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite the time.
It is. And there's also some funny, like, there's a few funny references to just rando things that don't have anything to do with anything. Like the part where he's out on Christmas Eve, and the woman tries to pick him up as Baxter's getting sloshed on martinis and lining up the olive toothpicks, and she's just like blowing like the straw wrappers at him, and she's just like, buy me a drink, and she just happened to mention her husband's in jail in Havana, and just starts talking, what do you think of Castro? And, all these just random, like, this is really funny.
Because in that bar scene there's an advertisement for a whiskey.
Yes.
Do you remember?
I don't remember the name of it,
Yeah,
but there's the big bottle at the end of the bar, and then the advertisement.
That's right. Yeah, it's a Canadian whiskey.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I didn't catch it.
No, it's something different.
Okay.
Anyways, I looked.
Is it still around? Do you think?
It's still around, but you can only buy it in the States.
Oh, is it Seagram's?
No.
Okay.
No, I think it starts with an L or something like that. Anyways, it was again that product placement and prominent enough. Again, you're in a bar. Of course, there's going to be alcohol advertisements, but again, in a movie of that caliber to have
at that age,
right?
In that age.
Yeah.
And so then I wonder if that was the link into the Tom and Jerry's, which we didn't have time to do, but we were going to bring. Which we had to look up.
Yeah, we had to look up the
He kept
recipe.
saying that there's Tom and Jerry's mix in the fridge for you.
Yeah.
So, I think it was Fran and Shelbrook.
Yeah, I think it was when Sheldrake
so,
and Fran are going. One of the two, yeah.
And we had to look up what that is, and it is a rum. What was it in it?
Like a rum Tom Collins or something like that?
No, it was
And it had eggnog or something in it.
It made it kind of sound like it's an eggnog.
Welcome to Mixology.
Kim
and Jason.
We were gonna try and make these, but I mean it's like literally raw eggs and then
like an egg, like a foamed egg white type of thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like
brandy, and I got it, friends. Don't worry.
You got it.
Traditional Christmas time cocktail, hence this movie being set in the holidays. In the U.S., sometimes attributed to the British writer and boxing journalist Pierce Egan. There you go.
Sure.
It's a variant of eggnog with brandy and rum added and served hot, usually in a mug or a bowl. Egg whites beaten stiff, the yolks and sugar are folded back in, and then vanilla extract is added if you want. Obviously. And then a few spoonfuls are added to a mug, then hot milk, rum, and usually topped with nutmeg. Pre-made Tom and Jerry batter, typically produced by manufacturers in Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana, is sold in regional supermarkets during the Christmas season. So apparently, it's still a thing.
It is.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening in Minneapolis,
wants to send some Tom and Jerry mix,
please let us know.
Our 1 or 2 listeners in the States, hello. Oh boy,
that's funny. That's a very involved. See, this is why bartenders could make a living back in the 60s and 50s.
Yes,
because that's what they had to know off the top of the dome.
Yeah,
I mean, there are still good bartenders in the world who have to know that stuff off the top of the dome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's a lot more often. What do you want that's on tap? And they just pull it.
That's right.
Too many pilsners.
Yeah.
Yep.
But not that we know anything about that at this table.
No, not at all.
Couldn't be us.
I just thought of another, or looked through my notes and found another scene choice thing that I thought was interesting, was that the director made that choice at the end of the movie to have Fran leave the bar and go to the apartment, and it's the classic girl running down the road, and she's holding onto her coat, and she's running to kind of create this drama of not knowing what's going to happen next or why she's so worried.
Yeah.
So I thought that was and again, the close-up on the face again, which was, I thought, Matt would make note of that.
It's kind of one of the only shots where it's like a moving shot.
Yes.
Everything else is pretty like static or just a dolly turn, as opposed to that one where it's like, no, it's somebody, like the camera's on tracks running beside her. Yeah. Which again, in like, especially in New York movies, it tends to be a thing of like, there's a trope of people running down the street in New York, which nobody does because it's always so busy and it's shoulder to shoulder, that it's just like, oh, okay, now it's like I am free and I am running down this and off to whatever, whether it's in terror or in joy. Or, yeah.
I've never run anywhere a day in my life, so I can't relate.
Let alone in New York.
No.
I have more notes about Mrs. Olson. I'm sorry we're jumping around.
No, that's
to the audience.
You've listened to our podcast. You know how it works.
I just love, too, that she's such a busybody in a way that she, like, again, because she's intelligent and she's the only person who, throughout the whole movie, that really knows what's going on. She's listening in on all the phone calls.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love that she's the one who listens into Sheldrake's phone calls and not Sylvia, who is the long-term mistress of one of the other doofuses. I don't remember which one.
Who works the switchboard.
Who works switchboard. Yeah. She's not listening to everyone's calls, and she would be the one who could because she's switchboard. Right. But Miss Olson is like, I see this is lit up. I'm just going to casually pick this up and wait to see what happens. Yeah. She's a crafty one. I like Miss Olson.
Yeah.
She's a really fun. There's sort of two female roles that are quote unquote smaller roles, or like real supporting roles, that kind of are like really, really integral to the story.
Yes.
Or are just one of the most memorable things about it. One of them is Miss Olson, for sure.
And the doctor's wife.
She is so great because she walks in, is not having any of Jack Lemmon's bullshit at all. She's like, I will not lift a finger to help you, but the doctor has told me everything because we have no secrets, and I will help her. Yeah. And so he like doesn't even let him bring in the tray of food. She's like, get out of the way. I'm coming in.
And then he's disgusted he has no napkins.
Just how could you not? And won't let him wash the dishes because she says don't wash them, you'll break them. Like she has no time for him.
No. This is your like, I think back, this is the Eastern European family of like, don't do it that way. Do it this way. Let me do it. You'll do it wrong.
Yeah. We would never. I can't relate. I don't know what you're talking about. It was like Jason, and I have no idea what you mean.
No, not at all.
Couldn't be us.
But yeah, she has that really great. Pretty much one scene. It's the only time you see the doctor's wife.
Yeah. And at the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he runs to get the doctor from next door.
Yeah.
But you know, too, though, if she knew the full story, because she thinks he's bringing women up to the apartment all the time. Yeah.
So does the doctor.
Yes. Yeah. And if she knows, and I love how the doctor threw in that little joke about, you know, you party a lot. You see a lot of women.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of donating your body to science? Right? Like, but if the doctor's wife knew that he wasn't, like, who he really was, she would be much warmer to him because she is that type of person that would take him under her wing. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit or a lot at this point about, like, the men and how that's sort of gender politics. Okay, first of all, Mildred Dreyfus, because that's her full name, and I only know her first name because he's always yelling, Mildred, he's at it again, which is a great, like, repeated line. They're, like, if we want to talk about, like, being a girl's girl, Mildred and Miss Olson, like, Mrs. Dreyfus and Miss Olson are there for it, right? Like, the only reason that she's, it's, Miss Olson's the driver of this entire story. Absolutely. If she doesn't tell Fran continues to sleep with Sheldrake. Yeah. Everybody has a merry old Christmas. No one tries to take too many sleeping pills, and this movie doesn't happen, right? She's the inciting action. Mm-hmm. She's also the one that solves it, right? Like, she's the one who calls we talked about.
Yes, calls the wife.
And it's Mrs. Dreyfus, who you've said too, and she's hilarious, but she's not there for him, she's there for the girl.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's all this, like Miss Olson's telling Fran to try and warn her. She's there to try and help this other woman. And maybe it's just Fran who needs help. But Mrs. Dreyfus is like, oh, I'm here to help her because she needs it. It's always this, like, this network of women who are, like, quietly taking care of one another in a world where the dudes are like, well, we're just going to do what we can. Great. Yeah. Get what I want and get out. Go home and see my 12-year-olds who are smarter than me.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually literally wrote down strongest female character in 2025 is doctor's wife. Standard.
100%. Right? Yeah.
And it's funny too because I think Mrs. Olson in some ways too. I mean, yes, she wants to help Fran. She doesn't want Fran to have what happened to her to happen to Fran, but at the same time, she's also kind of, you know, you're gonna get your comeuppance. To use a 1960s term to Sheldrake, right? Like, you know, you can't keep doing this, and I'm gonna fix it so you can't.
And there's a little bit of I don't want to say Schadenfreude even, but she makes a line. She has a comment to him when he fires her about, you know, you tried to do this once before. You should have done this a few years ago, but instead you made me sit out here and watch all the new models get trotted in.
That's right.
And that's a little shitty in a way, right? But I mean, also probably the way that felt. So in fairness to Ms. Olson,
and he deserved it. To be frank.
Yeah, I mean from like if I'm talking girls, right? I think like for her to be like, well, these other new models. But in fairness, that is what it was, and that's probably how it felt for her. So.
And that,
welcome to 1960.
I mean, at that point in time, like we've read things on like meme channels and Instagram things where it's like, oh, literature from a ladies' magazine in the 50s and 60s about like how to bag a man at work, and that was such a thing that was in the chatelaines and read books of the world at that point in time. That it's just like, well, that this is what was in the culture for it's everything that a woman would read, that a woman would see on TV, that like was kind of ingrained.
This is the same period of time where the only reason you went to college as a woman was to find a husband.
It was your MRS degree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? You didn't have to worry about getting an MRS degree, Jason. You were safe, I think. Yeah.
Bachelor's degree in, did they call it home economics at that point in time?
They may have. Yeah. It's funny that we say that because I mean I went to the university not that long ago, but long enough. Okay, hold on. We'll do the math. It's been almost 20 years since I started my undergrad. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. But there was a segment of young women who were still doing that, even in 2006. Yeah.
I did not notice that when I was there, but maybe
It may have something to do with like this specific place I went and the affluence of some of the humans, and
It
that
could have
maybe
been.
is why. But because there was also like a very stereotypical, like standard girl and guy, stereotype that attended that school. So like the girls all had the UGG boots and they drank their Starbucks with straws so that it didn't stain their teeth and Whereas, and that's like you didn't necessarily get that. Listen, we were all very same and white in London. It's fine.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I went to Simon Fraser University in the 90s, and I mean we are talking like just before, just after Hong Kong being turned over back to China, and so the whole Lower Mainland had a lot of people who had emigrated, or had dual citizenship. So it was a very different culture that way at the school, and in the sense that there was like the business department was ginormous.
Yes,
right.
I suspect.
And so I didn't feel that. Like I remember that more in high school than I would say in my post-secondary.
That's fair.
That's
fine. Yeah. I mean I went to school in Edmonton, and you notice.
I was like
exactly
that half of the table.
And there's a very at the U of A there was a very heavy focus on engineering and business, and that was sort of where you went in on the two faculties that if you went for enrollment, male versus females, heavily male dominated. Yeah, and you were swimming upstream if you're at a couple of friends that they got their engineering degrees, and it was they just had horror stories of being a woman in engineering, going through this faculty and the shit you would hear from people behaving badly and being in male dominated spaces for that. But every university is a bit different. Like if you watch a movie like The Social Network, that's a university in Harvard where everybody tries to go to Harvard so that they can drop out because they're too smart to be at Harvard and start their own company. That was the thing, and
And just you're talking about male-dominated spaces and swimming upstream. If that isn't the crux of this entire movie, well done. Also, no one can see us because that's the point of a podcast. But we are arranged in this table where it's girls on one side and guys on the other.
It's like a junior high dance.
It is a little bit. Don't get too close, guys.
Didn't even want to sit beside my husband of 28 years.
Didn't sit beside mine either. Apparently, it's fine. But
one thing that I was thinking of after watching the whole movie again is how could you could not use the same premise to make it in 2025.
Oh, this is a very interesting
what would it take
thought.
Because the writing is so good? Would you just have to change the or could you leave it with the same sort of thing, the apartment with senior management bringing girls back there just to for whatever, but could you do that
with the senior management being women?
Well, you could totally go that direction too. But what would it take? Because like I say, the writing is so good.
It is.
You wouldn't want to change that, but what would it take to actually change it so that it would be looked at as an amazing movie nowadays? Right.
This is a fun thought experiment. This is the oldest movie we've done.
It's All About Eve's 10 years earlier, but same era.
Oh, so we have guests for the old movies, is what you're saying. Great. Hi, guys. So it's one of the oldest movies, so it's a more interesting thought experiment to do than, say, something like The Proposal, which also, if we try to make in 2025, is a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
This, and the writing on that is not nearly as good as The Apartment. That's a good question, Jason. What do you do you have thoughts on how you could do it? Would you do it?
I just you'd have to take so much, in my opinion, you'd have to take so much out of it that's just inherent in, because it was made in 1960, like the chauvinism, and really even the premise of the movie, right? If you kept that and got rid of the the male domination that's rampant through it, but then could you still?
I don't think you could, because how, the premise of the whole movie is a love story, right? That is it, right? And then how do you propel the love story along if you don't have the situations where they can develop that love?
You go ahead.
You almost have to have maybe it's this guy lives in an apartment in a downtown city and rents it as an Airbnb. And somebody that he works with finds out that he does that. And so then starts, going, okay, well, I'm using this as we're all Canadian. I'm going to use Toronto. Let's say I live in the GTA and it's an hour and a half commute to downtown and I work a crazy job that requires a lot of hours. And so sometimes I have to get a hotel quickly because I can't get home. The GO train doesn't go out or whatever. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, well, I do that. Well, I'm here on my own and maybe I have a little thing because my wife and kids are back in Vaughan or wherever.
Or they have a massive, party or rager or something. Yeah.
There's 2025 lingo. Rager.
I just don't think that you could get the same effect because, again, just watching the movie, right? And again, it comes back to the writing. The females, other than the 2 or 3 that you guys have already mentioned and we've highlighted, the supporting females, they're ditzes. They're, the girl
they're portrayed as.
They're portrayed as, right?
Yeah. Uneducated from the Bronx.
Yeah. Right?
Why are all you dames from the Bronx?
Yeah,
right? That line.
Right.
And Sylvia and her, honestly, this is one of those, gags that is part of this really great writing is how often she references something that is about the apartment, right? So she's like, you catch her walking through talking to the other girl. She's like, and then he took me to some schmuck's apartment. And he's like, you have to let me into the apartment because I had to borrow my nephew's car. And then a scene later, she's like, and the car was so little. I said, get a bigger car or a smaller woman. It's funny that she's got that kind of ongoing gag. Yeah. I think, and Jason, I like this. Thank you for making me think. Okay. I think the crux of this movie or the reason that the writing works isn't just because it's like the men and women. It's power. Mm-hmm. This is a power dynamic that has, right? So it's the power dynamic between men and women. It's the power dynamic between the middle managers and the individual contributors, to talk corporate speak. Yeah. And it's the power between Sheldrake and the other managers, right? Yeah. There's this level, there's this hierarchy. Yeah. If you play into those power dynamics, no matter what the gender is, I think you have a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There would be a lot you'd have to change because there is a lot that doesn't quite work in the same way.
Ain't nobody leaving their key under the mat.
No, it probably wouldn't be as effective.
It'd have to be a door code.
The door code, right? Give me the door code, and then he changes the door code or something. Yeah. Yes. Ooh. Yeah. I like this.
There's something there, but it probably, even just talking about it, I'm just like, but is it as good?
Exactly.
Yeah. Even if you don't rewrite it, is it as good? Is it?
Are any of the 2025 remakes of movies really?
No, I don't think they are.
When you think about what's coming out and what has come out in the last 3 or 4 years, and there isn't the same story building that there has been in the past, right? Mm. It's hard, right? I think about some of the best movies I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. Barbie.
Yeah.
One of them, maybe.
And you're talking about story and world building, and I think that's, for me, okay. We have a doctor friend in Ontario who I've referenced in the podcast so many times, who didn't want to be a guest, whatever, who is going to, eye twitch when I say this. But I think we've moved away from stories and writing into world building. Yeah. So you have something like Avatar, and he's a massive fan of Avatar, and I can't stand it. As you all know, I think it's Pocahontas with blue people. I just don't bother. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why did you tell this story?
Well, and I don't understand why James Cameron can't tell a story in under 2 hours. I'm sorry. Listen, we don't need a 3-hour movie. It's fine. But this is, we've kind of moved into that. And you think of, a lot of the popular properties, for lack of a better term, superhero movies. That's a lot of world building. Mm-hmm. Harry, that's a lot. That's a lot of world building. Even a lot of the high fantasy stuff is all world building, and we've talked about this before.
Lord of the Rings, we did Chronicles of Narnia.
It's not our jam necessarily, but I think we've really leaned heavily into that and into serializing things, and you end up with the Marvel movies forever and a day, versus let's tell a great story this movie has done, right? Yeah. It's become a bit of because this movie when it came out was a huge hit.
Yes.
Massive hit. It's a crowd pleaser. It's if you watch this movie and don't at least just go, yeah, I really like that movie, I am questioning your moral fiber as a person. It's just one of those movies that you watch and it's this was at very least really entertaining, and I laughed even if you didn't like it.
To any of our friends who are listening who are like, I hated that movie. Bad news.
But like this kind of movie that is character driven, well written story, pretty self-contained. Like it's not a big sprawling epic story. Yeah. This is now the type of movie that gets made because it is quote unquote Oscar bait. It is an awards movie, right? Where it's like, oh, this is where I'm going to be a serious, dramatic actor. Or even if it's a comedy, like something like Parasite, where it's like small cast, well written, but it's like, this is an arts movie. This is a
It's not for disseminating to the masses, right? This is special. This is you have to be smart to watch this movie.
Yeah, and you're right. There's definitely been a shift in the way that the Academy picks and nominates movies in the last 10-15 years, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Like what was that one that we saw? We tried. So Jason and I. For those of us who don't know us,
those of you who don't know Kim and Jay,
our second son is chosen acting as his career and is going to try and make a go of it. Currently in school to do this, and
we may one day be talking about one of his movies.
Well, we hope. And so we have made an effort to really try to understand the industry. Also, when now watching movies have a totally different take on watching a movie. It's no longer just entertainment for us. We're like, oh, that was an interesting scene or interesting.
What a choice!
A choice. Yeah, exactly. And the last 2 to 3 years, we have tried to watch every Best Picture nomination for the Oscars prior to the Oscars. We haven't done it totally, but we've done our best. And what was the one that we watched with William Dafoe in it? Was it last year or the year before? And
last year he was in Nosferatu.
Not that one.
What else was he in that would have been The Lighthouse?
And it was like the Frankenstein version, but the Frankenstein was the female.
No idea.
Do you remember this?
No. Oh, I got all four of us are like, hang on.
Keep talking about it. I'll look it up and find the title here.
I remember going and watching that movie because it had been nominated and we live in a small town just outside of Calgary, so our movie theater does not get a lot of the art pieces.
Oh, I remember you talking about this now. Yes.
But it did happen to come, and it came for 1 week, and we had to go and on a Sunday night because it was like we were gonna miss it if we didn't go, kind of thing. And it was we both when the lights came up, everybody in the theater turned to their partners and said, "What did I just watch?"
Poor Things.
Poor Things. That's the one.
Yorgos Lanthimos just off the fucking deep end.
Yeah. And after we watched it, we were both like, we don't know if we liked it or not. But then 2 or 3 days, we're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
We're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It had to be a good movie because of that, right?
There's something there.
There's something there,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the what in the cinnamon toast fuck did I just watch to the like oh
man, if Poor Things was the first Yorgos movie that you saw, oh boy, that's because he did one before that was an Oscar one called The Favorite, which was Olivia Colman that she won for.
One of my favorite actresses.
And it's really good, but it's also one of those like, this is weird, but you watch it and go, this is kind of funny too. It has that Poor Things, you go off the fucking deep end.
Yes, you do.
Real quick.
Come with us on this journey.
Yeah. No, but that is very much like when you look at the makeup of, and Hollywood's going through a weird thing right now with the whole Warner Brothers sale that looks like it might be Netflix, maybe it's going to be Paramount. Yeah. None of them look like good options. Yeah. But it now is are you a movie that is going to win awards, or are you a movie that's going to make $500 million? Yeah. And there's nothing in between.
There's nothing in between.
And what's more important?
Yeah.
Right?
And there are actors that will be like, okay, I will do, like if I'm Ryan Coogler directing a movie, okay, I'll do the Marvel movie, I'll direct Black Panther, and I'll bring Michael B. Jordan to do this, even though we made our name on an indie movie years before. Yeah. And then it's like a couple of years later, okay, we're going to go do Sinners.
I was going to say Michael B. Jordan and Sinners. Yeah. Speaking of movies for the Oscars that we all need to watch.
And now the thing with something like Sinners is this year Sinners made a buttload of money at the theater. And there's a few movies like that are like Sinners made a bunch of money. One Battle After Another made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Oh, those aren't typically the ones that do it. Normally it's
No.
Wicked, and normally it's MCU movies.
And Wicked didn't do what they expected the second half of Wicked to do either,
From
right?
what I hear, yeah.
I mean,
Neither of us have seen it,
so I won't see it.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it as... I'm a fan of musical theater, though, too.
As am I, but...
And I found it much darker than the first movie, of course, because that's the dark side of the story as well, but I didn't love it quite as much.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that the second act of a musical is not long enough to be an entire movie.
Yeah.
That's because the second act is always shorter. Everybody's fucking tired by that point. It didn't need to be a whole second. That's just me. I haven't watched it yet, but we'll come back.
Well, and they did a lot in the first movie. They did a ton building, you said world building.
Yep.
Right? They didn't really do that in the second half.
Right, and sometimes it does need to be explained. I don't always want things fed to me, but it does need to be explained.
Yeah.
So,
but that's where The Apartment kind of fits into that category of movies that very rarely get made anymore. Like character driven. We talked about the Oscars a couple of years ago when American Fiction won for screenplay, and Cord Jefferson, the screenwriter, got up at the Oscars and said, like, this movie was made for $20 million or whatever it is. He's like, there are a lot of $20 million movies out there with great ideas, original ideas, that deserve attention and deserve a look, and people should see them because there's some brilliant people making them and writing them, and most of them don't get greenlit anymore. And I think in the 60s, in the 50s, a movie like this wouldn't have been Ben-Hur.
No.
And wouldn't have been a B movie, but kind of fit into that middle of like just somebody writing a really good script, getting some really good, funny actors to do a really great job, and it's just like, hey, this is a great movie. Cool.
American Fiction was the movie we liked the most that year, and I think that was the year of Children of the Sunflower...
Oh, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Children of the Sunflower.
I know, I'm sorry.
Children of the Corn is
like I said, I have a bad memory.
Yeah.
And Oppenheimer.
And Barbie,
And Barbie. And I did not like Oppenheimer or
the Killers of the Flower Moon. I got
Killers
you.
of the Flower Moon. Yeah. Again, because, like I said, about the James Cameron comment, I felt like this was like, we're going to make a blockbuster. We have these great directors because of
Scorsese. We got you.
Christopher Nolan.
Marty.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan. And it's like, we're going to tell the story, but I have all these thoughts in my head, and they didn't edit enough the storyline, and it just felt like nothing was propelling those stories forward. It just was drawn out. It was...
You haven't heard our episode on Amadeus, but I have a rant about this and how like this doesn't not need to be this long.
Yeah.
When we finished Oppenheimer, I turned to Matt in the theater and said, "Well, that was a Christopher Nolan movie." Yeah. Because it could have been a half an hour and one subplot less, right? Like you're right, they didn't edit it.
Yeah.
And I think to Jay's point, The Apartment is so tight. Like it's so well written. It's so character driven. So do we need to remake The Apartment? Can we? I don't know.
No.
I don't think we need to, and I don't think it could be.
But do we need to make more movies like The Apartment? Absolutely. I think we do.
Right?
It is it's like one of the breeziest 2-hour dramatic comedies.
Every scene, every line, every look, every shot has a purpose in that movie. And that's why it didn't feel like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, you're not like clawing your eyes out to make it end.
Yeah, like the phone sat on the table. We weren't death scrolling at the same time. You know what I mean? Like doom scrolling, sorry.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Death scrolling is just the next step.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it's kind of it's a very classic, they don't make them like they used to kind of movie. And when you watch, there's a reason why this movie is still... like gets referenced all the time, and when people think of Jack Lemmon, it's one of the probably 5 performances they think of. Same with Shirley MacLaine. It's just one of those that when you go back to it, and it's I mean we're now far enough in, and I can probably go full disclosure. This is probably one of my favorite 5 movies of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I know you have a long list of favorite movies.
Yeah, I do. But this
and
is
it changes.
Yeah. But there's
Yeah.
ones I come back to more often than not, and this is one of those where it's just there's something in here that anytime you watch it, there's little bits of things where you go, oh
Yeah, like I didn't catch Sylvia the first few times we watched it. I did, but I didn't. Like I didn't quite catch who it was, and then now you're watching it again. You're like, oh right.
Yeah, and there's just little bits of like. Even little things like the Santa Claus in the bar.
Yes.
Just kind of being
drunk,
like...
the stereotypical drunk Santa.
Yeah, but still gets a good line. Like, it's not just, it's drunk Santa in the corner. It's like, no, he has a couple. He's like, go home. He's like, I know. I work for the establishment. What do you... Like, he gets
it's very good.
Yeah.
All right. So, was there anything else that we didn't touch on that you guys wanted to?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Wait,
It's a great movie.
8 pages of notes.
Right? It was a really good movie. And again, to the comments made earlier, you'd watch it 2 times, 3 times, whatever. It's you're always going to find those things that were put there for you to find them, right?
Yeah. Oh, I
by
like
the director, right? And yes, it's telling a story, and Jack Lemmon is, he's always arms and legs flailing and all that kind of stuff. But there's so much
singing opera while he's hitting a tennis ball, meatballs.
There's so much more there that that the director and the writers, they're the same guys, put there on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Consciously.
I really like that line. It's put there for you to find.
Yeah.
Because so often we're sort of spoon-fed what we should be getting out of a movie
exactly.
now, and
right?
you do get to go back and rewatch it and find things. I love that.
And I do love that you commented on his mannerisms, because he is very much a physical comedian as well as an actor.
Yeah.
So he does use his body a lot in all of his movies, like something like It Hot.
Yeah.
And this one,
Love that movie too.
So good. Yeah. And then Odd Couple comes down the
Oh,
road.
yeah,
and
right.
he gets him
Totally
and Walter
forgot
Matthau
that.
spin off and do their own thing for many movies.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else. We touched on everything I had.
Yeah, there's a I think again in noticing little things with each one, like Shirley MacLaine is in this movie is really just on another plane of existence from everybody else, and you kind of feel that way with some of the backstory that she gives. But like she, even though she is I'm gonna call her the sad bastard of this movie, because she is the depressed, like I'm smiling on the outside and not happy with myself on the inside kind of emo girl. But she just kind of goes around and everything is happening and everyone's reacting to what she's doing, because she's not putting up with the bullshit. She makes the joke about chopping the guy's hand off in the elevator when he grabs her butt on the way. Yeah. She's just like, no, I'm not going to take any of this. And when she does take it, she's like, and I hate myself for this, and I have no problem with like openly crying about it in front of whomever, and then confiding in Baxter about it eventually, and like she is a totally different character than anybody else in this movie, which is why I think it works so well. Because
she has more layers.
She's kind of immune to the power dynamic until she's not. Right? And then when she's not, she's really upset about it. It's really well done. Yeah, we didn't talk enough about Fran and her like agency. I don't want to take that away from her.
No, you're right. It was a really interesting character. A character made better by, Shirley MacLaine playing that character.
Yeah, I think of the highly regarded actors of that day. Maybe they're all high, I don't know. But of the female actors, I don't know that there's anybody else that I would have said, oh, you could play this character, right? Like, that is Shirley MacLaine's role.
Yeah.
And I think if I had been in 1960, gone to the theater and seen this and seen her, I would have said, oh, I want to see everything else that she makes.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you can tell that she is just on the start of her career, and that she has star quality for sure.
Yeah, and I think that too is why that makes that so interesting for me, because there were so many highly regarded actresses, female actors at the time, that they could have picked.
Yes.
And if they did, this wouldn't be the movie that it is.
Yeah, right? And that wasn't, like I said, interesting choice, because she had short hair. That wasn't very common. She wasn't what would have been a typical beauty back then, although she is beautiful.
Yeah.
But
she's not your Marilyn Monroe, right?
Exactly.
And she's, in terms of figure as well, right? She's a little more gammy, she's a little more boyish figure, and that sort of is coming in the 60s. But at that time, you've got the Marilyns. Not to shit on Marilyn, because that's unfair. But
different archetype.
Yeah. Which is interesting then. I wonder if that's why he chose to bring the Marilyn Monroe look-alike from the bar into the movie.
So I'm pretty sure, and I need to look this up as I talk, but he'd made a movie with Marilyn Monroe. Billy Wilder had made one years before, The 7-Year Itch, which is the famous subway dress floofing up movie. And
sorry, could you one more time? Floof.
There it is. And so he'd made 7-Year Itch, and then the year before he'd made Some Like It Hot. So he had worked with Marilyn Monroe several times before, and like had a good relationship with him, and I think got her and her persona far more than a lot of other directors kind of did. A lot of them were like, oh, I need the dumb blonde archetype, so I'm going to go here, or the sex pot blonde.
Yeah.
And he was the one that I think probably was like, this woman is incredibly funny and has a lot of layers to her. So I think that's probably putting her in there. I bet it was probably something that he was like, hey, Marilyn, come and look at this funny person that like this guy thinks is you, but is not. Yeah. Like it's not a mean-spirited jab at Marilyn. It's just like, oh, this is the other thing that only thing I thought of and watching it again with this time is being so close in proximity to Some Like It Hot. Have you guys seen Some Like It Hot?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. Again, spoiler alert for a movie that's 66 years old. Some Like It Hot has maybe the funniest last line of a movie.
I can't remember it.
So it's Jack Lemmon in drag that has been picked up by the kind of little rich guy who has a crush on Daphne, I think is his character's name. And they're speeding away on the boat because he's rescued her away from the band, and they are going to get married and live together. And Jack Lemmon in drag with his feminine voice is trying to convince him, you don't want to marry me, I can't marry you, well, I can never have children. And he has an answer for every single, well, we can adopt some children, that's fine. And he's like, I'm a terrible slob, oh, we can hire a maid, I'm rich. This is like every excuse he's trying to give him, he has an answer for, and then finally he just gives up, takes off his wig and kind of nudges him. He's like, I'm a man. And the guy goes, well, nobody's perfect. And that's the end of the movie. And this movie does almost the same thing where it's the end. It's just like, she is now made up her mind and she is there to, go and finish that game of gin rummy. Yeah. And he is, oh, you're back. Oh, I'm going to confess my feelings. And she's just dealing away. No, cut cards. He's not even looking at the card. He's staring straight at her, just cutting them absentmindedly like she is full speeding ahead. Yeah. And he's just like, I'm about to dump my soul out of it. And she's like, dum, I'm way ahead of you. Deal the cards. Like, it's like really good.
And then when he says, well, what about Sheldrake.
We'll get there. Sheldrake. We should have just called him Shell this whole time, honestly.
We'll send him
a fruitcake at Christmas.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's just, she already's like, got all the lines. This is and it's funny how like Billy Wilder has lots of movies, all really funny. He never really he didn't have his thing that he relied on as a writer, but sometimes he would have bits where it was like, okay, and now it's the moment where one of his very, very outlandish comedies called 1, 2, 3 has a very famous scene with a woman dancing on a table in the Christmas party, but it's just for these 4 dudes that are all from Soviet Russia that are now enamored with capitalism because this woman is about to take her clothes off for them. So he has these things that he'll drop in and be like, this is a Billy Wilder thing. So.
And to everyone's point, Jason's point about the writing, this movie doesn't need to go any further. It ends at exactly the right spot. Yeah. If they'd pushed it any further, then it's not the movie it is, right?
Yeah. And what? When they're sitting on the couch, sorry to interrupt you, but when they're sitting on the couch and they're dealing for the gin rummy game, you very could have easily have had them huge embrace,
kiss,
creepy kiss, right, and cut to black.
Yeah.
But somebody was smart enough to no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do the fruitcake line or whatever.
Because this is a loving, respectable relationship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mutually respected relationship, whereas where you see the kissing happening throughout the rest of the movie is not. It's not.
Yeah.
And you're left to decide what they're going to do, right? Exactly. He's packed up this apartment, but do they decide to stay in this apartment? Do they actually move a different city? Yeah. He didn't have a job because he told Sheldrake to stuff it. Exactly. And she probably doesn't either. And so where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Yeah. And you could reinvent yourself in the 60s in a way you can't now because the internet follows you. But I love that. It's
a really good ending. Really smart.
Yeah,
ending,
really smart.
Feels like we've hit our ending. Look at that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Kim's got
things
points.
that I
though.
want to say is I want to thank you guys for asking us to do this movie.
Oh, of course.
Because I am horrible at looking at anything that's like pre my childhood. For
the record, this is definitely pre all of our childhood.
And I am a lover of character-driven movies, so this is gonna make me now go back and watch some of those movies.
We have to have a chat about. I got a whole list for you.
A list of those things, right? Like
I've
seen the Some Like It Hot and the 7 Year Itch, like the really famous ones, but I didn't know about this one, and I'm glad that I did. So thank you for doing that.
Yes,
thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to, because I can't believe you haven't seen.
Oh.
And it is a more current character-driven movie. Is I think it was 2019, The Gentleman.
You've mentioned this one before. Yeah.
It is one of my favorites. It's in my top 5.
Okay.
Very character-driven. Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
If you're a Guy Ritchie fan, and then you will like it. It is, to me, one of his best movies. That and Snatch.
Yeah.
So I think you guys need to see that movie.
It's going on. Jess is typing it out as we
It is going on the list,
It is going
friends.
on the list, so look out for that sometime.
And another
Sure
underrated movie for what it is.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, our list of movies that we both haven't seen is a little bit shorter than the others, so I do love that.
Perfect.
Excellent. We would like to say thank you to you guys for joining us. Thanks for agreeing to do this because it's kind of a crazy thing. Hi, come hang out with us. Talk about a movie for 2 hours and let me know what you think. So thanks, you guys. I normally we do the would you watch this movie again? I think it's pretty clear we all would.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask a different question. Who's your fan? You just off the top of your head, really fast. Who's your favorite character in the movie? Jason.
My favorite, probably the Doctor.
The Doctor.
Yeah.
Kim.
Ms. Oz.
Miss Olson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the Doctor.
Yeah. It's the apartment.
Yeah.
I think the apartment is the character that needs to be in this
Yes,
movie.
yes.
I think the apartment itself is the character.
This is
And
true.
if it's not there, then obviously the movie doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It's true. It's a very expensive character now because that apartment now for Brownstone in New York is probably $5,000 a month.
Yeah, it's not $85 a month. That's
two
for sure.
blocks off Central Park.
Yeah, the
Blessings.
location might be a little bit of an easy
It's
sell
expensive
there.
for sure.
No kidding.
Excellent. Well,
that's our last episode of this calendar year then. It's going to come out right before New Year's, so we catch the in between Christmas and New Year's vibe from the movie.
And I was going to say, because the other thing of the movie, the vibe is I don't know what day it is in this movie for a while, because Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve, but everything in the middle, it's I've eaten so much cheese. When was the last time I had a vegetable? I don't know what day it is. That's how I feel between Christmas and New Year's. It's perfect.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening then, you probably get that vibe. So
I hope you're all eating cheese.
Yeah, hope you're eating cheese. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a good holiday if you're listening right then. And we'll be back in January 2026 with our 16th episode, which is Back to Your Choice.
I'm so excited. I can't believe you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. My brother is going to be thrilled. He loves that movie. So it's going to
I'm not sure how you have your brother and haven't seen it. But anyway, we'll all see what you think about it in January. And other than that,
if you'd like to follow us, we do have our Instagram. I can't believe you haven't seen. We have our own, other Instagrams that we always link into there. But I have another movie podcast, which is for physical media called Cinema on a Shelf.
And Matt, if you're a follower of movies and want to connect that way, Matt's got a letterboxd at Maddie236.
Yeah, and otherwise, hope everybody's a great holiday. Thank you again to you too.
Thanks, special guests, for joining us. And we'll see you in January.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Mildred!